So hello and welcome to the GCC Summer Championships presented by MyWhoosh. It is day 3, it is stage 3. We are going into our midpoint of the tour, and personally I'm really looking forward to today's stage. My name is Matt Payne. I'm here in the studio with the one and only
Emma Martin.
Emma, we've had some fantastic competition so far. 6 categories of rider, our amateur men and women, and our 2 categories of elite men, 2 categories of elite women. We have had 2 fantastic stages. We're coming into the midpoint. This is where things get a little bit more tricky and maybe a little bit more focused.
Well, it does become a little bit more focused. You are right, Matt, because the GCC Summer Championships hits the midday point today. Stage 3. Stage 1, Hadariat. Well, that was long forgotten. Yesterday's time trial in Arabia, forgotten as well, because on the minds of our racers today is Stage 3 in California, classified as hard rolling hills. And we'll come to that in a little while when we look at the course profile. But you can see tomorrow's stage is pan flat. And then we finish in Arabia with a really big climb.
So before we go on to today's stage, let's have a look at our stage 2 overall. Fantastic racing in that time trial. The drafting switched off, and Mohammed Al-Kais taking the win in the Premier Men's Competition, 41 minutes, 52 seconds. But my goodness, the battle for that victory was tight all the way to the line. Angel Hadlock going clear and soloing herself into victory in our Women's Premier Elite Competition. In the Elite Competitions, well, we have got SS. He went clear in the later stages of the race in the Women's Elite. Mara Dera soloed from pretty much the pen to the finish line and reinforced her lead in the overall. Now, they are our leaders and winners of stage 2. All of the results behind them shuffled in, mixed in, will produce obviously where we're at today for stage number 3. We've moved worlds. We are into California. Let's see if Emma's been California dreaming about the right course profile.
Well, I have indeed, and we'll touch on the GC when each of the categories starts. But stage 3 today in California, we said it was hard rolling hills, and well, that's no small climb at the end. 37.9 kilometers of racing, 445 meters of climbing today. All 6 of our categories, the men and the women, race the same course today with different start times. Now, the first main climb coming at 5 kilometers into the course, 800 meters in length, but it's steep, 7.9% average gradient. We then run through the San Francisco sprint, just 2 sprints today, before at 13k we run into the second climb. Now, this one is 1.4 kilometers in length, 4.7% average gradient, and then it's a long run down to the Onyx peak climb, 1.2 kilometers, an average gradient of 3.2. This is the least steep climb today before we run down through the Los Angeles sprint, and at 34.5 kilometers we go into that Hollywood climb. It's the last climb of the day. It's categorized as a category 3 climb. It's 3.1 kilometers with an average gradient of 6%, and well, it's 300 meters to the finish line at the top.
Indeed it is, and all of these hills have their own little ways of riding them. The third of our climbs, for example, although it is the least steep in terms of its overall, the kicker into it is incredibly steep, and that is going to really make sure that our riders have done their homework, because if they haven't, they're going to really pay for that.
Now, in yesterday's stage, there were no sprints and there were no climbs. It was a time trial, an individual time trial. Today, 2 sprints will add to that sprint qualification and competition. 4 climbs will add to the climbing competition. So for me, this really is a climbers stage today, and it's those climbers we are going to have to look out for. There's a maximum of 20 points on offer.
So let's see who's going to be taking that in our women's elite competition. You can see that we have here our Velocity Vixens and the Aussie Balatai squad. The Aussie Balatai squad currently in second place in the team competition. The team leaders, the Velocity Vixens, between them at the moment 17 minutes 29 seconds. And in part that is because the Velocity Vixens have the 3 leading riders in the individual classification overall. That is playing into that. But this, of course, is early stages. So certainly in terms of climbing, today will be a whole different ballgame with that climbs today. And taking on exactly the same course as our elite riders, our amateur riders taking part. And of course, if they ride all 5 stages of the GCC Summer Championship, then they will be eligible for the $500 prize. Our elite riders riding for prizes on the segments, on the stage win, on the climbs, on the sprints, and of course the GC overall and the team competition. So lots of prizes on offer for our riders in the elite competition. Our participants in the women's amateur competition, they've got to finish all 5 stages. We've seen some fantastic riders and some great riding in that competition.
We have indeed. I still can't get over that Mel B is part and parcel of the amateur competition.
So whilst Emma has a Spice Girl moment, we are going to get ready for what should be a spicy start to the kickoff of today's racing. Our first wave going away. They are going to be kicking off here on the hour. 10 minutes later, our next wave start 10 minutes after that, and then 10 minutes after that. So basically, our first wave, this is our amateur women, and it is our elite women. The amateur women in the right-hand side, you can see Mel B, indeed, on that start line in the purple. Thank you very much to the production crew.
Let me just caveat it. It's not Mel B from the Spice Girls, but it does.
That you know of.
Well, she has an Australian flag by her.
She might have moved nation as
Isn't
well.
resident in the...
It's not Union Jack, and I'm sure she's going to be out there giving it lots of girl power here today. But let's focus in on our elite riders. You can see they are all lined up, ready to go. It's time for them to hit the roads of California. Time to hit the slopes. Who will end up wearing the green skin suit for the sprints, the polka dot skin suit for the climbs, and the yellow skin suit for the overall? At the end of today's stage, they're away. They're on the road. The asphalt awaits. They mix in with the amateur women, and the whole of this bunch now heading out away from the start. Stage 3 is go.
So 37.9 kilometres of this race in California today, facing this first wave of women away. Now, the elite women and the amateur women here in red and purple are our first wave out of the start pen today. They start 10 minutes before the Premier Elite women, who will start 10 minutes before the first wave of men. So 30 minutes in total, covering all of the wave starts today.
And critical on all our wave starts is to make sure that you are up and ready to go, because our competitions, of course, are about getting over the finishing line in terms of that GC, the general classification, taking the stage win, but also in terms of the speed that the bunch is moving at. And that could be critical on today's course with the sprints and the climbs. You can see that there is a good profusion of red jerseys in with the purple jerseys. That's a nice big pack in that, and the draft is switched on, which means that our riders in the group on the right hand side can benefit from the draft. Our riders on the left hand side, that has got to be my favorite camera of the GCC Championship so far. Hello everybody in the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club. If I come to the UAE, I want to go see the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club in action. That is brilliant. What a way to ride together. That is fantastic.
This is all about. So this is exactly what this is all about. Joining a community, being part of a community, and riding together with friends.
There's nothing better than riding with your friends, getting out there and getting out on the road. And here, the guys out and doing that, and doing a great job here today. So thank you very much for putting the camera in on the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club. Don't forget, of course, lots of great initiatives to ride together all the way across the Gulf, and of course the GCC encouraging that cooperation across the Gulf states.
Well, one of the things I did want to mention, Matt, because you talked right at the very start line about the yellow skin suit, the green skin suit, and the polka dot skin suit being awarded at the end of today. Obviously, we've already got riders resplendent in those skin suits in each of the categories. Now, the yellow skin suit being awarded to the person leading the GC in the category. So Madeira in that yellow skin suit. The green skin suit and the polka dot skin suit awarded to the riders who are at the top of the sprint competition. So that is Liz Smithson at the moment in this category, and at the top of the climb category, which at the moment.
It's nice to know you're on the ball with the climbs.
No, it's Sarasu.
It is indeed Sarasu.
Yeah.
So we will be dropping in with those riders at the moment. Just in with Rasha Care at the moment. You can just see the avatar on your screen, on the main part of the screen, the windowed drop in there. And that is in the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club. I think I saw Rasha just to the left-hand side of our lineup of riders there. Sits back down again after kicking on through. And you can just see, having to make a decision here. Does she push on to go to try and join the group in front? 10 seconds to the nearest rider, about 15 to the main group, or does she now wait for the group behind her? They're only a few seconds. Going to be interesting to see what
I
she
would
decides.
do.
Yeah, I'll be waiting, that's for sure.
Me too.
Yeah, get in the draft, get some rested, get some hiding done, just get that warm up right, and then if you're feeling good at the end of the stage, then smash it on those climbs, which I'm sure she's going to do. Okay, back in with the leading pack here. Now we're in with Rona May Joy Mayer, a rider who had a great ride in yesterday's stage. Madeira, though, leader in the yellow skin suit. She's number one in the overall competition, so that is the cumulative time of the two stages so far. Where are we standing behind Myra Madeira? Where are we at with that overall, Emma?
We are indeed. Interesting to see the movement in this category. Sorry, we just Myra Madeira has just come up on our screen. So great to drop in with her again. We've been able to drop in with her every day,
yes,
which has been absolutely fantastic. So Madeira really pushing on at the top of this elite category. She has been in that yellow skin suit since the end of day one. Currently in first place in the overall competition by 2 minutes 41 seconds.
And in second place?
Well, in second place at the moment, you can see the overall standings just coming up on the screen. Rona May Joy Mayer in second. She finished second yesterday in the time trial, and that performance really moved her up through the standings. She was lying in fourth at the end of stage one, so really interesting to see that individual time trial performance move her up through the overall GC. Al-Mansouri dropped to third. Smithson dropped to fourth overall. Interestingly, Sarasu, who is wearing the polka dot skin suit, targeting that climbing competition on day one. Going to be interesting to see how she fares today and whether she still has that as her target.
And the same could be said for Jenny Tan, but in terms of the sprints competition, because at the end of day one, she was in second place, only 3 points behind Liz Smithson, who is the rider in the green skin suit. That are sprints competition leader. That is really, really close. 3 points separating first and second place. And in fact, it's only another 3 points back, isn't it, to third place in the sprint competition, which is Musa Al-Mansouri.
Absolutely. We've got two sprints today. The first sprint comes at 11 kilometres, the San Francisco sprint. The second sprint, the Los Angeles sprint, comes at 30 kilometres into this race. So 2 opportunities for them to pick up points today. But tomorrow, 9 opportunities in that sprint competition.
And each sprint worth 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 point.
Yes.
So you can see that by having 3 points separating first to second and 3 points from second to third, it is really, really tight at the top of the standings. And the results of just one sprint, never mind the 9 tomorrow, but the extra one today with the 2 today, it's going to be really, really wide open, that competition. It's going to be very, very tough. So let's see how that pans out. You can see Smithson in the green skin suit moving alongside the yellow skin suit there. That is Madeira. We're just taking a little bit of a look down here. I'm just wondering whether we are going to see Sarasu in here as the climb leader. She's just at the back of this group.
Indeed.
Now, she's going to have to make a call here. We know that she's more than capable of going with the group, but she may be going to go and ease off here because, remember, key for the climb is the time up the climb. It's not the first over the top, is it?
No, it's not. And you are quite correct, Matt. It is not the first rider across the line in either the sprints or the climbing competition. It's the person with the fastest time in the category. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're with the front group. And often we see riders who target these sprint or climb competitions in these multi-day stage races deliberately ride at a steadier pace between those segments.
And the other thing that could be playing out here, we're just on our way into that climb. It comes in about 300 meters for the first climb of the day. That's the Hawk Hills climb. Is that she's actually looking also about going through the group and using that draft and kicking on. So you can see our riders now going up on to the boardwalk. They're going to hit the climb. The polka dot jerseys just behind this group on the road. And as they come up on to the climb, here we go. You can see our leader in the competition overall in our elite women in the yellow. That's Myra Madeira. Are we going to see Sarasua go chasing through this group and use some of that draft advantage?
Maybe, but I tell you something, this is a short, sharp, steep kicker to start with because the Hawk Hills are 800 meters in length, just shy of 8% gradient. And you can see there Sarasuk doing that. She's moving up now onto the group. And we've seen this in other stage race competitions, Matt.
We saw this being played out very much in things like the MyWhoosh Championship about a year ago with that $1 million prize fund. Now, Sarasuk, really smart tactics here. She came off the back. She chased on through the base of the class. So she's already actually got an advantage on a number of riders because she's gone chasing in really hard into that and taking away a deficit. We'll have to come back to that, though, because we are going to head for our next race start. These are our Premier Elite riders who are taking part here in the GCC Summer Championships. We have our teams in here. We have the Saddle Queens at the moment, Kaimberger, Alesa, and Elos. They are chasing the team who are currently leading that team competition, which is the Sparkle squad of Conan, of Hadlock, and Gracia. The Gracia in that group working very, very strongly, but they have her backing up, really, Hadlock and Kekkonen. Hadlock leading in the overall competition, Kekkonen in third place overall. The time gap at the moment is not insurmountable. 1 minute 35 seconds between our first and second team. If my math is correct, we will see how this plays out. It's time to hit the roads. Category 3. This is our Premier Women's Elite. Heading out on the roads. We're in California. It's time to get racing.
Well, away they go from the start pen up and out on to the course. The group of Premier Elite women. This is a much smaller starting group. And I think a group, Matt, that's going to be quite tight on the road until we get to the Hawk Hills, where they're up to pace very, very quickly on this flat start area, just over 40 kilometres an hour. And there is the Sparkle squad, Kekkonen, Hadlock, and De Gracia, all three of them on the screen. Now, we saw Hadlock yesterday exhausted by the effort of that individual time trial that she took the win in yesterday. Great to see the amount of effort and digging deep that our riders do to take the win on the GCC Summer Championships. But this pack looking as though they're rolling quite nicely now.
They're looking good. They're rolling smooth. And I have to say, what a team effort by the Sparkle squad yesterday. We saw them all in the time trial. They were all absolutely going for it. There was a really big push by them, and they clearly are looking at that team competition. If you look at the results, all of them inside the top 5 on the stage, on stage 1. All of them inside the top 5 on stage 2
Well, can I just tell you something? Just watching the elite women going through this earlier starting category, going through underneath the polka dot banner signifying the end of the climb. And I can tell you that Smithson has set the fastest time up that climb so far. Sarasu looking like she's coming through now. So Smithson in 1. Madeira in 2, Joy Mayer in 3, Sarasu, the rider currently wearing the polka dot skin suit, in 4.
And has lost it. She was 1 point clear of Smithson as they came in to that climb. That gap, though, will have opened up with the different positions as they've gone up over the top. So in our elite women's competition, they're already going over the leaders, going over the top of the first of our climbs. In the Premier Elite, well, they're currently at 1.4K. This pack holding together. Now, the graphic on your screen giving you a really good indication of where our riders are. Now, Angel Hadlock moved up. She was in second place at the end of stage 1. She moved to first place, courtesy of that time trial effort. We saw just how much she put in there. Patty Keinberger, she came through in second place, moving up into second place. She held that second place behind. All of the positions basically stayed the same as they were, despite Kekkonen and Elos's reversal of places on the stages.
And this was about timing. So Hadlock and Keinberger switched first and second yesterday, and Hadlock now moving into first place overall. The time gap between those two riders, 16 seconds. So Keinberger is going to be absolutely marking Hadlock, and Hadlock is going to be absolutely marking Keinberger. Those two are going to be stuck together with glue. Kekkonen back in third place. Well, she's 2 minutes 29 seconds back on GC. Now, the interesting thing here is Elos in the Saddle Queens, 2 minutes 46 back on GC in fourth place. So really 16 seconds separating 1 and 2, 16 seconds separating 3 and 4.
Yep. And it does mean that the riders who are the third counter for their two teams, the pressure is on them, because Alesa and De Grazia are really the riders who are now, the separation is in there. And that's could all change because we're changing terrain day after day after day here on the GCC Summer Championships. We're moving around the various worlds of MyWhoosh, and we're using different terrain so that at the end of the stage race, this is what I love about stage racing, we get to the end of the stage race and everybody has been tested across multiple different types of terrain. So whether you're good on the flat, the hills, the climbs, whether you're a great sprinter, in a championship, which is a stage race, we get everybody. Your winner has got to be a great all-rounder.
Yeah, he does indeed, or they do indeed. And one of the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice there's no polka dot jersey, no polka dot skin suit in this pack of Premier Elite women. And that's because Hadlock also holds the most points in that Queen of the Mountains overall competition. So you can see by the side of Angel Hadlock's name there, the yellow jersey and the polka dot jersey. But in terms of what she is wearing today on screen, that yellow skin suit takes precedent.
It does indeed. There was a time when there was a combined jersey in the Tour de France, and you actually had a very Harlequin almost jersey with, you would get the yellow, the green, the red, the white. It was hard work to work out. So that's why the rules basically now is the preference of jersey is not down to the rider. It is something that is set in the in almost in stone
in the rule
cycling
book.
in the rules,
in the technical guide.
And I'm sure all our riders will have read the technical guide. They will know what colour jersey they're going to wear when they're taking to that start line. It's critical they know who is doing what and who the competition is in here. Really interesting here. Myra Madera and Liz Smith are marking each other here. That is very evident here as they make their way down. And they're riding on two different squads, remember. You've got Myra Madera riding for the Velocity Vixens based in the UAE. You've got Liz Smithson riding for the Aussie Balatai squad, also based in the UAE, but they are very much the team captains for their two squads.
Well, Rome Joy Mare, just 2 seconds back. In fact, you can see her she's with one of our amateur women. That's Fatima Murad, who is with Rome Joy Mare at the moment. Those are the two riders 2 seconds back, and they're looking as though they're closing on Madera and Smithson, which would make a group of 4 riders. They're currently at 9 kilometres into this 37.9 kilometre race. The next key moment on this course for them is going to be the San Francisco Sprint at 11 kilometres. Take a look at this. This is where the catch is going to be made. And it's interesting to see Fatima Murad, the rider on the front here, sharing the work with Roname Joy Mare.
And this is just handing across at the moment a slight advantage to the Velocity Vixens. They've got 2 riders in this group. The Aussie Balatai squad have got 1 rider in the group at the moment at the front, but this can all change as we make our way out and around the course. At the moment, we are currently at 9.5 38k of the 38 kilometers, 37.9k to be exact, out on the course out here in California. Classed as a rolling hills and small climb stage, it's going to test our riders irrespective of what category they are in, whether they're in our men's or women's competition, whether they're in our elite or amateur or our premier elite categories. It's going to be tough stuff out on the hills today because that is racing. Now, the next group are ready to start. 2 waves going to go. As we've seen before, our amateur men, they're on the right-hand side in the light blue, category 5, and we have our elite men's race category. Now, in terms of the teams out there, Team Poggy leading this competition at the moment, 45 seconds ahead of Team Alpha. Now, a bit of a change in that because Alpha were leading at the end of stage 1, but it's changed after stage 2. Team Alpha are currently 1 minute 30 seconds ahead of the Alpha Wheel Squad, and the Alpha Wheel Squad 1 hour 30 ahead of the team in 4th place, and that's currently the Wheel Warriors. But remember, it's 3 riders added together, then taken across all 5 stages. That is a big, big time gap available to change. And I think, to be fair, 1 and 2 is 1 and 2, 45 seconds, that's nothing. In the individual competition, that's a little bit different because it is real battle in there, and we'll go through the riders in the individual competition in a while. The men's amateur category, well, it is still a packed category with lots of people completing the first 2 stages successfully. Today will be their halfway point. It's a tough halfway point, but they do have an easier day tomorrow in terms of meters of ascent. I'm sure they're not going to be taking it that easy, though, on the way round because they will want to get in and over that line. And great to see so many people taking part in the 5 stages, the 5 days for 500. Now, brilliant incentive running all the way across the United Arab Emirates, the state of Bahrain, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the Sultanate of Oman, State of Qatar, and the State of Kuwait. Those are the 6 nations that make up the GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council, and our residents who are in there able to ride in the competition. Let's jump in with our elite men. We can see the polka dot skin suit, the yellow skin suit in here. The green skin suit is definitely in here as well. So we've got all 3 of our competition leaders in here ready to go. The rest of the pack are looking to try and take those jerseys, to take that away going from here in California when we move to stage 4. Will they be able to do it today? It's time to find out. The clock ticks down. We're about to start the race. The GCC Summer Championship, Stage 3, underway for our men's elite.
And away from start pen go the men's elite category. This is the first men's wave off, and there you go. They join in with the amateur starts, and a huge group of over 100 riders now out on to the road.
Big group of riders, big pack, lots of draft available, pancake flat start as well. It bumps a little bit though, just down the road. That might break it up a little, but a very, very quick start. And you can see everybody wants to come charging in towards this front group. It's not possible because the pace at the moment on the front is absolutely lightning quick.
And the stretch on the group, you can see that on the bottom left-hand corner graphic. You know, some of those riders still not round that corner as these front of the pack take the sweeping. There indeed is Canup on the screen, taking a look at the group moving really fast, and the elite men's category, part and parcel of this front group of racers.
Now, Canup currently is sitting in 9th place in the ninth place in the stage, 8th in the overall competition. Held that place yesterday in the time trial, sitting inside the top 10 nicely as well. He's currently sitting in 4th place in the sprints competition as well. So he scored 6 points in stage 1. He's going to have to see if he can improve on that today, though, because there's more points on offer, as we've already explained, in the sprint competition. Will he figure in those today? Well, we'll have to see. We have a little way to go before we get across to the first of our sprints. Remember, that sprint comes in at 11 kilometers on the other side of our first climb, which is the Hawk Hills climb. which hits the wheels of these riders at 5 kilometres covered.
Well, this group now really motoring. The pace so high, sitting around 45 kilometres an hour on this flatlands. Now that is really motoring. Al Hassani in the group, Mohammed, Amma, Smithson, Stedman, all in the mix here together. Booth Thayab as well here too, putting in some great performances. Thayab, currently lying 5th on GC at the moment. And you know what? Only about 11 seconds back off 4th.
Be really interesting when we go to that. Now, great to jump in. We are in with Abdul Razak Al Hadi. He's looking good at the moment, looking pretty smooth. We saw him earlier in the competition and back in with him again, looking very focused today. Absolutely motoring along at the moment in this group. And as you can see with the hills in the background, high speed, 38 kilometres an hour here.
They're rolling fast today.
It's a fast rolling group here, and they are absolutely motoring. You can see that focus. Nothing is going to break that, is it? I think I could pull faces at the camera, wave at him all day long. He's not going to, nothing's going to do it. Anything could happen, and he's going to be sat there focusing on keeping that nice revs as well. 95, 96 revs per minute, super smooth.
Well, look at that. The whole set of that focus map was to get back onto the back of that group in front. Fabulous work from our riders out on course today. Bigger group, better draft.
Yep, bigger the group, more draft there is, the faster you will go, the easier you will get over the distance. But we will see if everybody is in the draft when we hit those hills. Just in with Bart van den Dries at the moment. He's in the main pack at the minute, and certainly looking pretty smooth in there alongside his colleague Matt Smithson at the moment. No holding hands, just on the way around, no towing each other down. This is not a Madison. You can't do hand slings. You need to be making sure that you're doing this properly. Well, there we go. We're in with the MyWhoosh HQ. Bart is in it, and Matt's waving. Come on, Bart, give us. Are we going to get a wave out of him?
Well, I think, you know what, just proving that there isn't the same photo and the same video feed that we saw yesterday. So MyWhoosh HQ back on the bikes again today, back in the mix, back on the pack. It's flat at the moment. They're at 3 kilometres into this 37.9 kilometre race. They're right at the front of this peloton at the moment. It is not going to be long. Well, it's going to be 2 kilometres up the road that they hit the Hawk Hills. 800 metres of climbing, 7.9%. Well, it is going to be a big effort, and I'm going to put a prediction out there early, Matt.
Oh, you're doing it again?
It's going to split that front pack.
Oh, I so wanted to say something that was unbroadcastable then, because I would agree with that. But it kind of was like it's almost guaranteed when we go in to the climb. Now, in with SS at the moment, he is our overall leader in the men's elite competition. He's there in that yellow skin suit as our GC, our general classification leader. He is the man who is at the moment holding on to that. He really moved well yesterday, didn't he? That pacing on his time trial was very, very impressive. That put him up into first place with the win. You can see the standings, though. He moved up.
He did.
So did Hassan Al-Ramesri, though, who after stage 3, he moved up into second place.
Well, you are quite right. SS moving up from second into first. It was very, very close at the top at the end of day 1 between Erasmus and SS. Erasmus finishing 6th in the time trial, dropping him down to 3rd overall. So SS in the lead at the moment. 32 seconds his lead from Al-Ramesri. Erasmus, the gap back to Erasmus is now 2 minutes 23 seconds. But he does have over 2 minutes back to 4th place, Al Hassani. But the gap between 4th and 5th is not big at all. We're talking 11 seconds. So whilst we're seeing some changes towards the front and some tight competitions at the front of these races, there are going to be lots of fights, lots of mini races within the race as our competitors really try to get the best overall position. And I think we're going to see some changes. If we look at Bu Amma in 6th versus Cadabona in 7th, it's 8 seconds separating them.
And they are tied up in a team competition because the top 3 riders in the overall are all individual riders. SS, Al-Ramesri, along with Erasmus. the top three have that individual competition to fight for. They don't have the team competition to worry about. They just have to focus on their own ride. The riders behind are all pretty much in teams. So 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th are all in the 10th is in there as well. I'm just scanning down the sheets. So basically from 4th to 10th place in the GC, they are all riding for teams, and that makes it a different competition. Let's see what happens when they hit the climb. They're on the first of the ascents up. The first points available in the polka dot competition. Hassan Al-Ramethri leading the polka dot competition. And that is, of course, our climbs competition. Will he be able to keep hold of that? He's 1 point clear of Greg Cadabona. He is 2 points clear of SS, always going to be dangerous. We've got Erasmus currently sitting in 4th place in that competition. He currently has 2 points, and at the moment, the last point scorer is Bouamed, the rider you just mentioned there, Emma. 5th place in the climbs competition, and that was taken on that velodrome climb. At the moment, though, look at Hassan Al-Ramethri. He really is wanting to make this his. He's kicking on at the front here. And is this where we see a combination of riding not just for the climb points, but also for that overall position?
Well, it is a really interesting tactic here where Al-Ramethri is just going to keep, and the target is to keep the polka dot skin suit, and the target is to push on the climbs and to sit back and wait for a group on the transitions, or whether you go over the top in the I put my teeth back
in one of those
in the front group, and then you continue to push on.
We will have to wait to find out how that pans out on the climb, because it's time to head back down to our start pens once again for our Premier Elite riders in the men's competition in those yellow jerseys of being our leading riders in that men's competition. Now, in terms of team competition, the Abu Dhabi team are currently sitting in 3rd place. They are, wait for this, 4.4 seconds behind the High Talk team. Fantastic battle. So out of 2 stages, the combination of 6 times, all of a sudden you're still 4.4 seconds apart. Then, in front of the High Talk team, it is the UAE team. Now, they have a gap of 11 minutes 31, somewhat more substantial than the 4.4 seconds. So they're looking more secure, bearing in mind they have got so many contenders in the individual competition. It is really making their team challenge look very, very strong indeed. However, you cannot discount anybody, and that battle for the 2nd and the 3rd teams, I think, is going to unfold, particularly on the climbs, given who is in those teams.
Well, in with Francis Pino. We've just switched. Pino leading that sprint competition as away go our Premier Elite men on stage 3 of the GCC Summer Championships here in 2024. This is the midpoint. 2 stages done, 2 more stages to go, and we're in with Al Balushi. We can see the big screen, the big fan set up, absolutely ready to go, because this is California. These are hard rolling hills with a small climb at the end, but I'm not going to say 3.1 kilometers with an average gradient of 6%. The Hollywood climb that comes at the end of the course today is a small climb, unless you compare it with the final climb of the final stage.
Dum, dum, dum. Too right. I was thinking, as you were saying, it's a small climb. I'm thinking that's not a small climb. And then when you said, last stage, I think it's interesting, isn't it? 445 meters of climbing today.
Yep.
Our least climbing days tomorrow, 59 meters. So there is almost, I'm not going to say it's a rest day, but it is a less aggressive ascending day. But then we have 905 meters on our very last day.
Yes.
And a lot of that is in the last climb.
Well, 690 meters of it is in the final climb.
Which is more than all of the climbing today's stage.
It is indeed. Well, Sultan here is pushing on at the front, and he really is pushing on at the front at the moment. Wanted to keep the pace high on this group, because the pace isn't that high at the moment. Now, we've seen some of the other packs rolling at about 45 kilometers an hour. The pace now starting to pick up. Sultan now pushing towards the early 40s in terms of the kilometers an hour, really getting the pace moving again. 1.2 kilometres into this race. They don't seem to be following him, Matt.
Well, they are following him. They're on the same road, heading in the same direction, but I'm not sure that they're chasing him.
Okay.
It's not like they've all gone, more, do you know what? We'll take a different route.
Well,
they are all following
I'll
in the
tell
right
you
direction.
something that's really interesting. We've got the Abu Dhabi team on the screen at the moment. Pino, Abalushi and Yuki, some really, really strong riders in this race category. And we've been seeing some fabulous racing over the last 2 days.
And I wonder if these guys have been talking. I mean, they now know over the last 2 days they've had a chance to suss out the competition, the High Talk team, and suss out the UAE team. They'll know what their strengths are. They'll know where they're going to go well here. They're going to be looking at where they are in those standings in the competitions, what they've won in terms of prizes so far, what's available, and where they can score. And it might be that they say, do you know what? We're just not going to contest this.
Pino's currently lying first with maximum points so far in the sprint competition.
Yeah.
Nuki is lying third in the King of the Mountains competition. So they're lying in a very strong place.
And it may well be that they decide, well, we're going to stay in third place, even though it's only 4.4 seconds. We're going to let the team of the High Talk race themselves into exhaustion, thinking we're chasing them for the team prize. And actually, we're going to snaffle up all of the wins elsewhere, because the difference between second and third place in the team competition is not as high as we could get, say, in the individual GC.
Well, we're going to talk about the overall standings in a second, but let me just say I love this part of the course where you've got one group going one way across the bridge and the other group coming back in the other direction. But the overall standings in the Premier Elite Men, and watching Q10 go off the front of the group, currently in that yellow skin suit. Now, he took the win on stage 1, but he only finished second in the time trial yesterday. But the cumulative time kept him in that yellow skin suit. Alcase took the win in the time trial yesterday, but didn't close down enough of the time gap. The time is too big. Q10 is currently leading the general classification by 1 second.
And it started off the day, I think it was 1.17. And Alcase's win in the last stage really, he ran out of road to put in a big enough gap, didn't he?
It's 1.10 now.
And again, we saw a kick-off, didn't we, by Alcase, going off clear and then getting closed down. Is he going to do that again?
Well, he's chasing down. He's not gone hard off the front today. He's waited for Q10 to go, and now he's closing the gap down and he's going with him. So Alcase lying in second overall, 1.1 seconds down. 2 minutes 45 back to third place. That's Mutue at the moment. Closely followed by Al Hamadi, a 39-second gap back to fourth from third. So third place, still a close battle going on there, is a minute back to fifth, and then we see a number of minutes back. But I have to say that the gap between sixth and seventh place at the moment, 5 seconds.
So lots left to fight for. Only a few seconds can make the difference between a multitude of places. We're getting the big thumbs up from Mohamed Alcase there on the screens. Will he take away a victory? Will he be able to rob that jersey, take it off the back of Q10 and replace his polka dot skin suit with a yellow one? I'm sure he would dearly love to. However, it's going to be tough stuff out there on the course. Now, you can see we've got a lot of riders looking like they're hitting those hills, because in the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club, a lot of our riders here are riding in that amateur women's race. Russia Care, the rider on the left of your screens there, on the left-hand side of our front row, is the rider who's on your screens going up over the top here. Very, very interesting to see the attack and the push going up over here.
Well, I can tell you something, that this is the polka dot banner on the second climb on this course, a num climb, and the riders going up and through. We've got both competitors here on our screen in the amateur competition, Rasha Care and Bassam Aked. Now, mother and son, Matt, taking part.
Brilliant. Absolutely love it. And that's one of the great things, isn't it, about having MyWhoosh, about jumping on board here. You can both jump on, you can go out and ride, and you get out there and ride and sit there. You can go out and ride that, and you are on the same road. You can experience, you can share. How was that hill for you? How was that sprint? What did you think of that downhill? What did you see? Did you see something in the scenery you thought, oh, I've got to go have a look at that. I want to go visit there. I mean, I do that regularly on commentary. I'm not even riding. And I think that's one of the great things, seeing people who are families riding together. And we see brothers riding together, sisters riding together. We've got mother and son riding together. I'm sure we've probably got father and son riding together as well. We certainly do on the Sunday Race Club because we have Peter and Linda Milostic.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? There are a number of race teams that I know of who have parents and children on them.
Yeah. Fantastic to see. Now, Rushcare on the descent here, 15.2 kilometres. Gone over the top of the climb, dropping down off the far side. So over the top of the second climb on the course.
I am going to talk very quickly about the Category 4 elite women, because the climbs are going all over the place. So Smithson took the first climb, maximum points. She's only finished 5th on the second climb, and Rona May Joy Mares picked up maximum points. So the Queen of the Mountains competition in the elite women's Category 4 is absolutely being ridden hard at the moment.
Okay, so that's going to be all over the place because in that competition, those points are being added up and they're being divided up. We're going to have to see how that plays out. When it comes to the riders out on the course in our men's elite Premier Elite competition, that is our Category 1 riders. You can see at the moment, Alcase pushing on here in the polka dot skin suit. You've also got Q10 in here in the yellow skin suit. Yusuf Mirza Al Hamadi. Now, he had a good day at the office yesterday.
Yeah,
he
did.
I thought he rode absolutely out of his skin. He was inside out pushing himself there, and it really, really worked for him. He's really good position on this climb. Interestingly, though, Nuki is there, Al Haikta is there. In fact, we're going to just drop in with Yusuf Mirza Al Hamadi. Great riding by him. I was so impressed
by in that time trial yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I'm sorry to use a really old, dodgy 1980s song title for it, but it's so true. And he was on a tough ride yesterday. He knew he had to perform. It's called the Race of Truth for a reason. He pushed his way in and through there. Now, going over the top of the Hawk Hills, this is the fastest time. So this is where the time on the Hawk Hills is set. Emma, 1 minute 59. The only rider going underneath is Alcase. Who's right behind him scoring points, though?
Well, Alcase goes through in 1, Altar goes through in 2, Q10 goes through in 3, Mutue in 4, and Nuki in 5. Those will be the 5 riders picking up points in Category 1.
Okay. So
I can tell you who's picking up points in Category 2 as well.
Go on.
Because going over the Hawk Hills from Category 2.
And Category 2, for those people who just are a little confused by them, it is our standard elites, our elite riders in the green.
Our elite men in the green. Erasmus picked up 5 points from SS from Alramethri. So really interesting to see that. Just to finish and round this off, in Category 3, our Premier Elite women, it was Kokkonen who picked up maximum points from Hadlot from Kindberger. And we'd already talked about the fact that Smithson from Madeira from Sarasu in our elite Category 4 women.
Now, in terms of those points being picked up, we just seen El Rafai on the descent here. Now, he has been right up in the mix on these climbs. He's just descended. He's chasing Al Hamadi, who is currently 8 seconds in front. We saw that sprint over the top of the climb, and that was a real battle, and it has started to split these groups apart at the moment. That means that these riders now are chasing, and this is where they've got to work together. You've got a really strong rider, Hassan Sultan, in here. You've got Pablo Popovic in here. Albalushi is only a second down on this leading trio of this chase. You've got Cirillo. These guys need to get it together, don't they? Cooperation here between that hill and the next classified climb is going to be key. They can see the riders in front, but they're going to have to work together.
They are indeed going to need to work together because they're going to need to push on here. This is looking like a good group, though, to do that pushing on. 10 seconds back they have at the moment as they cross the bridge. Well, are they going to close that down? What are your thoughts, Matt? They're moving quicker. I'm taking a look and trying to work out if they're moving quicker than the leading group. I think possibly they are.
I was hoping you were going to carry on long enough so that I didn't have to commit to what I was thinking. My answer to that would be no, they're not going to make it back across. And I think the reason for that is that there's enough volume of riders with the draft available and the strength of the riders in front. And there's so much competition. I mean, it's a slugging match between Q10 and Alcase. In there. I mean, Alcase, he's leading the points in the mountains competition. He's scored maximum points now. He's got 10 points overall in that competition. The leaderboard as we stand, it's Alcase in 1, Hector in 2, Q10 in 3. But in third place, it's a tie. There's 3 riders with 4 points in there in that King of the Mountains.
I'll tell you something.
Is absolutely frantic.
It is exactly the same in all 4 of the elite categories at the moment, because on the top right-hand corner of your screen, we've got SS in there with Auramethri and Erasmus. Erasmus picked up maximum points in that King of the Mountains competition. Kaluma has picked up maximum points going through the sprint. So it is all changed, but we've now got these 3 riders here at the front of this elite category 3 men's competition fighting hard. Well, it is looking as though every category is racing to the limits at the moment at 8.8 kilometers into the race. This is the final race that started today on stage 3 of the GCC Summer Championships. And it is a leading group with Alcase, Nuki, Q10, Al-Qatar, Mutue and Al Hamadi, 6 riders.
And they're cleared by 5 seconds. That was 10 seconds not all that long ago. The commentator's curse for this breakaway group may well strike here, because it looks like they're going to come back together again. But you've got to make it the hardest part of a chase of the last few meters, because that's when you're at your most tired. So you can often see groups chasing, coming back, almost getting into touching distance, almost able to grab a gel out of the pocket of the group in front. Metaphorically speaking, obviously, because we're avatars rather than out on the road. But that you can see this group, they're coming, they're chasing. I think they're going to get right onto the heels. And interestingly, this group is not broken. It has stayed together and it has chased well here. At the moment, you've got a real push coming on here. Albelushi and Al-Rafai, the riders there with Popovic, with Sorrell, they're working fantastically hard here. You can see them on the screen. They know that that group is in front, and this hill, this little bump here, has fractured the group a little bit. The vision of the chasers is maybe not as strong as it was, but this is where, it's those last few meters, when you're trying to get back on, it's so hard.
Oh, it is indeed hard indeed. And if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be right, because it is indeed hard racing 5 stages on 5 days here on the GCC Summer Championships. And the push is on here. This is a small rolling section of ground, actually, and it is indeed doing some damage here. But the group, well, I think they're going to make contact with the back, you know, Matt.
But that group is not the size that it was. We've lost, I think, at least one of the riders off the back of that. Look at the damage that's being done here. Albelushi's on the back there. Popovic is 1 second back behind. They're 3 seconds off the back wheel of the group in front. And this is incredibly hard at the moment in all of our races here today. Fantastic to see the riders as they push out and they continue to push, trying to get themselves into a position. This is going to be a hard day at the office, I think, for everybody, because this course is breaking it up.
Well, it is indeed breaking it up and coming back together. And that's what these 3 riders have done. They have successfully brought back a 10-second gap. So the group of 6 on the front becomes a group of 9 in this Premier Elite Men's race, the Category 1 race. They were the last riders out of the start pen. And just around the corner is the start banner of the first sprint on this course today, the San Francisco sprint, that comes at 11 kilometers into the race. Now, the question is, will anybody from this group go for the sprint?
Well, Q10, interesting tactic there. He jumped in from the back. He was hanging off the back going into the sprint. And that means if they all come together across the line at the same time, he will take the fastest time coming from the back to the front. Very, very smart tactics. Will it pay off? Will we see a counter-attack over the top? Mohamed Matoué in here looking good. We saw him a very, very strong rider. Great road racer, former road champion. Will today suit him more, do you think, than the time trial, Emma?
Well, that is a good question, isn't it? And one that I think, some of these riders will just get better and better and stronger, and we will see different performances with them each day. Now, I can tell you that Francis Pinault has just gone through the sprint in category 1 and picked up yet again maximum points, 5 points. This is the overall summary at the moment. So the fastest sprint today at the San Francisco Sprint was Joy Kaluma in the elite category with 12.931 seconds. But hot off the press, Abello and Elos have just gone through faster than Pinault. So you can see with the live results at the moment, riders and racers further back down the field targeting those sprints.
Well, what's really interesting, Pinault went through, he had the fastest time on the Abu Dhabi team. We then saw Elos from the High Talk team take away top spot. It was then followed up by Abello coming through from Pinault's team, taking the top spot back for his team on the Abu Dhabi team.
But I can say Abello has no points in the sprint competition, and neither does Elos. So Pinault will indeed keep his lead, but he's just lost 2 points because he's gone from 5 points to 3 points.
But the team have just won that segment sprint, and remember, the price per segment on the stage is for the winner of that segment in each category. So that is really, really key. The team had Pinault, if he had taken it, that would be the best scenario for them, another maximum points. They then lost it, so they then got Elos to sprint. If that was planned, if the team did that on the fly and got that planning done in the time difference between Pinault going through, then seeing a kick from Elos, and then we saw the push from Abello, if they did that, that is amazing riding.
Well, let me just tell you something. Roname Joy Mayer is currently leading the elite category women's race. She's 8 seconds up the road from Fatima Murad, who is the rider we are in with at the moment. They're at 26.8 kilometres into the race. And Mayer has a 9-second lead on Madeira.
So that is the real push on the front. They are 1 and 2, or should I say 2 and 1. In the elite women's competition. Remember, the start of today, Madeira was leading from Roname Joy Mayer. She was in second place. She moved up from 4th.
2 minutes 41 time gap, though.
Big time gap. Going to need a lot more seconds to be up there. Both on the same team, though. Now, back in with the Premier Elite men's competition. The leading group fracturing once again as we make our way up onto the climb at 13.3k already on the climb. They are already on this ascent. This is only 1.4k long. It's 4.7% average gradient, but it is a stepped climb, and you can see that on the course profile, top right-hand side of your screen.
In the other men's category, I am just going to mention they've already gone through and up and over the top of the Anumanum climb. Ronald Erasmus is targeting these climbs today because this is the second climb he's taken in this King of the Mountains competition today. So Erasmus taking it from SS, from Al Remethri, from Cadabona, and from Demanuan in the elite men's category. In the Premier Elite men's category, they are not at the top of the climb at the moment. They've still got around 400 metres to go. Well, the 400 metres to go for the Premier Elite men's category as we take a look back into the MyWhoosh HQ. They are also out on this course, on these climbs today, and mixed around the course.
They are indeed now. Just taking a look from the studio across to the attack that's just been put in from the chase group. Looks like Mohamed Matoué wants to get back up with that group. He's pushing in big numbers here, about 5.5 watts per kilo. He's going to now have to kick over into this flatter section. You can see that we have a roll off here. You go over the top of that wooden bridge. It levels out a little bit, slight downhill even.
Yeah, it is. And so it levels off in a slight downhill. But Al Case just put a massive kick into that transition from the climb onto the flat. Now, we've talked about that before, and that transition and building the momentum and the pace, because if you can lift your kilometers per hour as you transition from the climb to the flat or to the downhill, it'll help you when the climb starts to kick again.
And these are the riders they are chasing in, with Ivan Nuki at the moment out of the saddle here. Nice detailing that his heart rate monitor colour matches the highlights on his jacket, on his jersey there as well. Nice touch. So that is very, very colour coordinated with that yellow there. Looking really, really good. I like that. Whether he is going to bust that heart rate monitor apart with the heart rate he's recorded over the top there.
195.
I know, absolutely nailing it over the top of that climb. They were super fast up over. The question will be, will they have the fastest time? It was Ronald Erasmus, I think, who had the fastest time. It's not anymore.
No.
Look at that.
It's not the
Erasmus
fastest time.
3:32, wasn't it?
Yeah, 42 seconds slower than Alcase. 2 minutes 50 seconds going up there. Nuki going through in second place, 1.7 seconds back, 2 seconds back Q10, then Al Hamadi, then Al Qatar, then Mutaway coming through 9 seconds down. That is the Premier 1 category. Erasmus setting the fastest time in the elite men. SS Al Ramethri, Kadabona and Demanuan in the women's coming up there. The Premier Elite women, it was Hadlock from Keinberger, from Kekkonen, De Gracia and Elos. And in the elite women's category 4, it was Mare, Sarasu, Madeira and Al Mansouri.
Wow. Absolutely frantic across all of our race categories. Ivan Nuki, we wondered whether we'd pop his heart rate monitor apart. Well, I'll tell you what he has done. He's moved himself up to second place overall in the climbs competition, in the KOM competition, because of that climb. Alcase leading, maximum points, 15 points behind. Nuki has got 8 now. Let's drop across to our elite men. Emma?
This is our elite men's category, and this is a phenomenal race. Erasmus doing some sterling work on the climbs at the moment, putting in some performances, phenomenal performances. SS Erasmus, Al Ramethri, looking to me like they are the 3 riders at the front of this elite men's category at the moment, and they are in the mix with a number of our amateur men riders.
And in the climbs competition, Erasmus leading by 1 point from 2 riders, SS and Al Ramethri. These are the top 3 riders on the climbs competition live as we speak, and they are separated by 1 point between all 3 riders.
Well, Demanuan, the rider in 4th place, currently in this competition today. He's 24 seconds back. It looks like he's got company. He's in with some of those riders we've seen in the MyWhoosh HQ. They're out on the road with him at the moment. Now, let's just do a check. Category 1, Premier Elite Men, 16.5 kilometres into this race. The Elite Men we've just been talking about are 22 kilometres into the race. The Premier Elite Women, 25.8 kilometres. And right at the front of the course are Elite Women, 30.5 kilometres now travelled in this 37.9 kilometre race. And Mare is leading that race today from her compatriot, Madeira. She's 9 seconds clear at the moment.
And both riding on the same team, but reversing their positions from the GC at the moment in terms of their position on the road. So right-hand side of your screen, you have our leading elite riders on the road. That is Roadmate Joy Mayer, who is currently our leader on the road in the elite competitions in the women elite there. The men's Premier Elite, well, they are currently at 17.1k covered. They're chasing hard at the moment. They've got a lot of riders in front, so there's plenty of opportunities to take some draft. One of those that may see them, well, Hesham Talat, we're back in with him again. We've seen him, I think, every day so far. It's doing a good job of recovering and pushing on here at the moment. Turning around, just taking a quick check, 82 revs per minute and 36 kilometers an hour on this flat section. So he's tapping out a really nice pace here at the minute. That heart rate, 144 beats per minute, and currently looking very, very strong at the moment. I think there's plenty more in the tank as we head out onto the last hills, where we see a big push from Talat as we go up on to that climb. Can't wait to find out his Wheel Warrior squad. Really strong. And Talat actually from Canada. But living in the UAE. The Wheel Warriors, in fact, riders from the Philippines, from Canada and Tunisia.
I know. I think it's an absolutely fantastic mix. So riders from all around the globe now living in the UAE, taking part in that team. So fabulous to see these riders coming together. And for some of them, probably for the first time.
Yeah, and brilliant to see the team mixes, the different riders, the different skill sets. Now, the team of de Grazia, Kokoda and Hadlock are currently on the way up here. This is very interesting today. Is this where we start to see them make this absolutely nailed on? Kokoda, de Grazia and Hadlock, a quick reminder, they are the Sparkle squad. They are right up there, but there is a Jennifer Ellis in the mix here from the Saddle Queens. Patty Keinberger is in the mix as well in that green skin suit. So despite the efforts of the riders at 27.4, this is still fairly wide open, and it's going to be about what those riders do in the last kilometres, the last 12 kilometres or so, in terms of how that breaks up. Now, dropping back in with Musa Al Mansouri at the moment on the right-hand side of your screen with the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club. I'm loving that we're able to keep a check on these riders. We've seen them multiple times. At the moment, everybody's looking really good. They're all looking like they're actually doing a fantastic job today. Really, really impressed here. Now, I think Musa Al Mansouri is right over to the left-hand side of the screen. So come on, guys, give us a wave. Everybody together.
Everybody's waving.
Fantastic.
Absolutely brilliant. Fantastic job. Now, Al Mansouri doing a fantastic job out on this course at the moment. This is the flat section at 30.4 kilometres. This is the transition from the Los Angeles sprint to the 34.5 kilometre marker where the Hollywood climb starts. Now, the final climb today is 3.1 kilometres long with an average gradient of 6%. Sorry, Abu Dhabi Cycling Club, if I have just reminded you of what is to come.
It's a bit
but
harsh.
It's then 300 metres to the finish line. And the riders are female competitors who took away at the start pen first today. Will, I think, be the first riders to see that in terms of take a look. Actually, Carway Lee, who has been a phenomenal rider from the amateur women's category, and Carmen Bossman, she also has been riding very strongly. Those are the first two riders who are going to see the final climb. In fact, Kaweli now on the slopes.
And she's been our leading rider for the first two stages. She's going to make it 3 stages here. She continues at this pace. And if ever there were 2 candidates to come and race on a Sunday race club, I think those 2 are them. They're on the right-hand side of your screen. Left-hand side.
We just missed Madera making the catch.
Has she made the catch?
Yep. So Myra Madera now alongside Roname Joy Mayer, both riding for the Velocity Vixens, both of them at the head of that elite category women's race.
So all back together again, the teammates reunited. How long will it stay that way in the women's race? We're back in with the men's Premier Elite race here. Al Hamadi, Al Kaisa, Nuki, Al Hector in here, Mutaway in here, Q10 in here. This is a real who's who. We're dropping in with Mohammed Al Kaisa once again, a rider who has been battling it out at the front of the race with Q10 day after day. This is a fantastic battle. I mean, this is the sort of thing. Do you know when you wake up in the morning, you think, we're going to commentate on a bike race. What would we like to see? The front of this race is pretty much it, isn't it, in lots of ways, because it is people just knocking chunks out of each other. They are not giving up.
No. They're not knocking chunks out of each other.
This is
not boxing.
Well, if you 2 want to step into a boxing ring, help yourself. I'll quite happily come along and watch, but I'd much rather watch them racing because they are doing an amazing job of keeping us entertained. And at the same time, we've got to remember, they are racing.
The tactics today are really interesting with this big lead group in this Premier Elite men's race. No one's gone off the front. No one's put a break in. They are over half race distance today, and they are still with a significant sized leading group.
Just as an aside, I know we just quickly flick back across to our elite men there. The elite men's competition in terms of the climbs today, they were really, really tight on points. They're still tight on points. Aramespa currently leading that with still the climbs to come, 16 points. But He's tied with Ronald Erasmus. So
Yeah.
2 leaders. Then it's SS with 14 points. So 2 points separating the top 3 riders in that. Now, we've got Mohammed Mutai in our screens at the moment. He is riding strongly at the moment as part of this leading group. Now, he's a rider who I would really, really love to see what he does. He's in 3rd place at the moment, and he's almost sneaked in there because of this battle on the front. He's got in under the radar. Does that mean he saved some energy, do you think? And we're going to see him in the last stage today, the last climbs today, really push on.
Well, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how he climbs today in that final climb, the Hollywood climb, because he's 2 minutes 45 back. He's the rider that we're going to see an attack. He's the rider who is going to benefit the most on the top 3 from an attack. The other 2, Q10 and Alcase, just need to mark each other.
Okay.
Actually, Mutue is the racer we need to see race.
Okay, right. There's your mission, Mohammed Mutaway. We want to see you race, or Emma's saying that we need to see you race onto these times at 22.2k. Plenty of distance left for that to happen. Just making the way in through the Space Centre at the moment on the left-hand side of your screen. On the right-hand side of your screen, you have got that catch that had been made by Myra Madeira of Rona May Joy Mare. Madeira there in the yellow skin suit. Rona May Joy Mare in the red jersey, the black shorts. They're on the climb. They are working well at the moment. Will they stay together to the top? Well, we will no doubt drop back if the production team's fingers are nimble enough, and they seem to be very much on form today, able to cover so much action across so many different race categories. 6 categories on the road. A quick reminder, 6 categories. Remember, we've got riders out and racing. 4 of those up on your screens are our elite categories.
Well, our women at the moment, our Premier Elite women, 31.4 kilometres into this race now. Kekkonen, Hadlock and Keinberger, a group of 3 at the moment. They are 19 seconds clear of De Gracia. She's with Elos at the moment. So really interesting to see. 3 riders clear, 2 riders chasing. In the category for elite women's race, they're coming up for 35 kilometres now, 2.9 kilometres of climbing left. And it's looking like Mare has dropped Madeira. So this is really interesting because Myra Madeira in 1st place on GC. Mare in 2nd, 2 minutes 41 back. So this really is about, can she gain any of that time back from Madeira today on this climb?
And immediately behind, we can see it's a good time gap. Don't get me wrong, but Liz Smithson is battling it on to this time. She is going to be up against Musa Al-Mansouri, but Smithson with the green skin suit and the polka dot skin suit as leader on the road in both of those competitions. Remember, the polka dot and the green skin suits will update as the riders ride. So they are live. They are as it happens. You don't need to do complicated maths to work out who is at the front. Thank goodness. It is those jerseys shown at the side of the names. The yellow skin suit of the leader on the GC only updates when all the riders are in, and it's accurate. It updates as they go over the line. But that's not always the case. That's the most accurate way of doing it. We will see at the end, because remember, all these riders are subject to the verification process. That it's all part and parcel of racing on esports in our elite competition, and they all know they've got to put those efforts down now. Kekkonen working hard. Hadlock sitting there looking pretty composed at the moment. De Gracia just trying to keep cool by the look of it. Jennifer Elos on the right-hand side there working well as she just sits there very, very calm. Elos as she's riding. Really impressed by how calm she is. Now, this is a ride by these riders today because this is not an easy course. It's very reminiscent of the Belgian race route and a route that we regularly ride on the Sunday Race Club. It's now coming in to racing. We now have California added to our race routes. in the Sunday Race Club. This is a similar course to that. It's attacking, it's aggressive, it's got climbs, it's got flat sections. You can't pause for a minute, and you've really got to work hard everywhere.
You do indeed, and it is exactly just like that. Well, this is the Premier Elite Men's category, the last raced category who were out of the start pen today. They're coming up onto the Onyx Peak climb at 24.5 kilometres into the race, and Yuki is the rider pushing on at the front. Look at that. Now Ivan Yuki is going for this King of the Mountains competition. He wants these points, and that's why he's pushed on ahead of the group. Now the group have got two choices. They can either go with him, or they can let him go and hope, I say hope, that he is just going for the King of the Mountains competition and that this is not a race winning attack.
Or, as I suspect our case is doing, they can chase him and use this to their advantage, because that kick from Yuki that's being followed by our case I just saw come out at 10 watts per kilo in pursuit. Alcase leading the climbs competition in first place. Yuki in second place behind him. So they came onto this climb, Alcase with 15 points and Yuki with 8. Q10 with 7, the same as Al Hatta, and Al Hamadi just behind him on 6 points. Really, really tight in terms of the competition behind Al Case. Going to be interesting to see how that plays out on that climb. Just going to drop back with Abdullah Rakak Al-Qadi in here. He's on his way on to this section. He's coming up over to the top of the climb. He is currently motoring his way in.
And he's about halfway through the race field.
He is at 25.6k. He's just coming up to the summit of the climb here today, so he's going to go over the top of the Onyx climb. He's in front of those riders that we just saw. They're going to be chasing behind. I don't think they are all that far behind Alcase. I think literally about to hit that polka dot banner.
Well, the push is on, the race is on, and I'll tell you something. The leaders in that Premier Elite men's race are not far behind. Alcase and Yuki looking like they are a few seconds clear now of the rest of that leading group, and Al-Qadi is going to see them very shortly on his screen.
In fact, there they are. They can see he is in front of them. He's our rider in the blue, Alcase and co. The riders chasing Alcase, taking maximum points on that climb. He's got 20 points overall, and you can see that he went ahead of Yuki. Yuki getting second place on there. He's now up to 12 points. He's got 2 points gap on Q10. All that effort to increase his lead by a point.
Well, every point counts in the King of the Mountains competition. In Category 2, our Methri took top points on the Onyx Peak climb from Erasmus, from SS, from Domanyuan and Cadabona. In the Women's Premier Elite category, it was Hadlock who picked up maximum points on the Onyx Peak climb from Keinberger, Kekkonen, De Gracia and Elos. And in the Elite Women's race, it was Sarasu from Mare, from Madeira, Smithson and Al-Mansouri in terms of where the points went.
So don't forget, you can pick up all of the results on the MyWhoosh.com website. It's MyWhoosh.com. Then navigate your way to the results using the menu bar on there. Get yourself into position as our first riders on the way to the line.
They are indeed. Kawe Lee is indeed about to cross the line at 37.9 kilometres. She takes the course first over the line today on the GCC Summer Championships. Kawe Lee, one of our amateur women competitors today. Carmen Boasmond, she also is one of those riders, along with Fatima Murad. They have been phenomenal in terms of their riding today out on this 37.9 kilometre course. Now, one of the really interesting things here today, Mare is riding in the elite women's competition. She's on the bottom right of your screen. She was lying in second place going into this competition on GC, with Madeira in first spot. She is now nearly 40 seconds clear of Madeira on the climb.
absolutely flying, really, really pushing, and looks like she may well have done enough now to take victory. She's got a gap. Can she take the overall classification? It's going to need a lot of work in those last few kilometers, but never say never with a climb to finish. She's on the right-hand side of our screen. Left-hand side of our screen, we are in with our elite men, our Category 2 men in the green jersey, although we're seeing a profusion of yellow and polka dot skin suits just to make things even more entertaining. And I have to say, the battle at the front of this race between SS, between Erasmus, between Al-Remethri and Co, it's just been absolutely absorbing. SS, for me, is the rider here potentially with the most to lose, Emma.
Well, I don't know about whether it's to lose, because these three riders, are absolutely fantastic. These are the riders in 1, 2, and 3 on GC. At the moment, there's 1.1 seconds. There's not a lot of time between these riders. 32 seconds back to Al-Remethri, 2 minutes 23 seconds back to Erasmus. The three of them are obviously going to give us some great racing over the next few days.
They are. And for me, SS being the leader, he's the man who's got that skin, so he will want to defend that. He won't want to have to chase back and pick that back up again. He is in the elite men's competition. Now, Angel Hadlock on the screen, on your big screens at the moment, with a little bit of a gap to Patty Keinberger, the rider behind.
They dropped Kokkonen.
They have dropped Kokkonen. They've dropped Grazia and Elos a while ago, and they are now heading out towards that minute marker. Hadlock, though, stretching her legs on this climb. She will want to extend her lead over Keinberger. Keinberger still wearing that skin suit. No more sprints today, but of course we still have mountain points available on the climb.
Let's just remind our viewers, shall we, going into today's stage, Hadlock was in P1 overall, Keinberger P2, a 16-second gap on GC after 2 stages. Now, Patty Keinberger needs to stay as close to Angel Hadlock's wheel as possible.
Well, I would say she needs to get in front and to drop Hadlock for at least 17 seconds, because you want that yellow, you want the stage win.
She's got 2 more days.
Let's remember that stage wins equal prize money. Stage wins equals great morale. Stage wins equals time put into the competition. That's what the riders want to do. That's what they need to do. And it's a 5-day stage. It's not a 21-day stage race. You've only got 5 of them, and this is a halfway point.
I'll tell you someone who is doing a phenomenal job today, and that's Rona May Joy-Mare in the elite women's category 4, because she went into today's stage in 2nd place behind Myra Madera at 2 minutes 41 seconds. Currently, she's 55 seconds up the road in the lead of that competition, and she's got around 700 meters to go. Well, Kaluma there, we see him working hard, and he's going for those sprints, He's picking them up all the way along the way. That's the Los Angeles sprint. That's the effort he's just put in, and that's the recovery he's taking afterwards.
I think I'd need an ice bath, a quick jump off the bike to stretch out. Great riding by Joy Kaluma there. You could see really going for that sprint. Now, Joy Kaluma in the time trial, he came across the line in 16th place, but he got perfect score in the sprints on day 1. He's absolutely nailing it on day 2. Anybody want to think about taking it off him? I wouldn't want to go up against him.
It's going to be interesting to watch him tomorrow, because we've got 9 sprint segments tomorrow. That is going to be really interesting. Well, currently what we're watching here is the final climb of the elite men, and we had a group of 3, SS, Erasmus and Al-Remethri. SS is pushing away from the other 2. Erasmus desperately trying to hold on. Al-Remethri looks as though he's already been broken. On the right-hand side of your screen, this is going to be the first of our elite women's categories over the line. This is Rona May Joy-Mare. She came into today in 2nd position overall on GC.
And she's absolutely putting time in here. Quick reminder, Myra Madera took a win in stage one, a win in stage two. She opened up the gap by time trialing clear, but Rona May Joy Mare is putting in big time gaps in here. She's opening up a gap on this climb that means she's starting to take time out. Now, these time gaps are live. They are basically a computation of distance left as well, distance covered, as well as the speed the rider is doing. And because of that, they bounce up and down. You've got to watch them on the same terrain. Rona May Joy May goes onto the flat at the top of this climb. She's on her run to the line at the moment. This is a long run across the top to get to the finishing line, but here she comes. It comes into sight. The banner is here. This is the run.
This is indeed the run for the finish line. This is Rona May Joy May. She's going to take first across the line today on stage 3 for the elite women in the GCC Summer Championships. So congratulations to Mare today, taking top spot. Madeira is currently in second position at the moment. She's not yet got to the polka dot banner, signifying the top of the Hollywood climb. Yeah, interestingly to see Smithson lying in third place. She's a minute 45 down the hill, ahead of Al Mansouri. I think that's going to move Smithson up on GC as well if she can hold that today.
And she's putting in big watts per kilo here, which is a key to climbing that power to weight differential. And Mansouri's trying to answer as well. So that's going to run all the way to the line on that climb. What will the time gap be between first and second place? Will it be an overturning? Will we see a change in that yellow skin suit in the women's elite? We're going to have to find out when those riders hit the line. Meanwhile, coming across here to the Premier Men's Elite race, Q10 on the attack here. He's opened up a gap to Al Case. Al Hamadi's behind, then Yuki, then Al Hector. But look at this, the damage that's being done at the moment. Who's the man who's going to try and answer this? Al Case could well be the only one who can get across the gap, but we're at 32.8 kilometers. We are still off
2K out.
Yeah, we're still off the base of the climb. Now, this tactic here, this attack early by Q10 Emma, is this a Q10 classic going for the climb by going early and making it a long effort?
Well, I think this is an opportunity and a tactic to try and win this race today, not leaving it till the climb, because there were 6 riders in this group, let's not forget, Matt. Absolute class and quality in that leading group going into the base of the climb at 34.5 kilometres. Now, it's not a long climb. It's 3.1 kilometres, which for this class of male rider is not a long effort. So, in an opportunity to win the race with the class in the leading group running into this final climb. Let's not forget there's only 4.5 kilometres now until the finish line is here. He's gone for an early attack, and Q10 now establishing 5 seconds on Al Case on the run-in to this climb. 8 seconds back to Nuki, Al-Qatar and Al Hamadi, the rest of that group.
And remember, that we've got Al Hamadi in here, the teammate of Q10, really working hard. Now, we're going to just drop across to the right-hand screen here because Patty Keinberger had been dropped and distanced for a few seconds by Angel Hadlock. She's come back up on to her heels here. Hadlock has been closed down by Keinberger. The yellow, the polka dot, and the green jersey owners at the moment on the climb. The green points skin suit will stay, though. Your polka dot skin suit will stay. Who is going to take away the yellow skin suit? Well, at the moment, Hadlock is the rider in the driving seat. They're going to come up to the top of the climb, and Hadlock is pushing on here now. Did she do enough in those last few meters to negate any distance she had at the start here and take away maximum points? It looks like she has. She's in the polka dot jersey, hidden underneath the yellow skin suit. Here comes the run for the line. The sprint is on.
Well, Keinberger's gone hard. She's gone hard early. Can Hadlock respond, or is Keinberger going to take this? I think Keinberger's going to take the win today at the top of the Hollywood climb here in California. She does indeed. So Keinberger and Hadlock, the story continues between these two giants in the Premier Elite Women's race. It was so close. I think that's about 600ths of a second.
Absolutely flying up there. And Yep, I'm not going to doubt Emma's maths for 1 second on there. So 600 a second to separate those two riders in the women's elite field. Fantastic racing across our women's race categories and our men's here today, as we've seen for the previous 2 days, and we're going to see continuing onwards for the 2 days that follow today's mid-race stage. Now, you can see the push on the climb here. Alcase chasing Q10, who has got 13 seconds at the moment from Alcase. Alcase ahead of Nuki, but Nuki is coming for him. He's 3 seconds behind here. And remember, Ivan Nuki is a rider who is currently sitting in 3rd place in the Mountains, King of the Mountains, as they came into this. Alcase was leading, so it's in Nuki's interest for that polka dots competition to be right up there.
I think Nuki's going to ride himself up the general classification today because he's putting in some phenomenal efforts on these climbs today. And I think he's going to be riding himself up from 6th overall. Where he ends up, well, that is still to be decided, and there's not much longer to decide. On the right-hand side of your screen, this is the elite men's race. They're at 37.3 kilometers, 600 meters from the finish line. And the rider who is about to see the polka dot banner signifying the top of this climb first is going to be SS. It's looking like he's got around 40 seconds on Erasmus, and that Erasmus is lying in 2nd.
And these riders, Emma says it very regularly on commentary because it is so true. They've almost got to treat the finish line, and today they definitely do need to treat the top of this climb as their finishing line. There is only 300 meters between that polka dot banner and the finishing gantry for the end of the stage. The push coming here. If you're working to put seconds in, you're not going to put loads in between the polka dot banner at the top of the climb and the finish line of today's stage. It is going to be all about smashing it all the way through to the polka dot and then just trying to hold on over the top of the Hollywood climb. It goes SS. He has got over the top first. What will be his time gap back behind him? Erasmus and Alremetri all chasing here, but this is the run for the line by SS.
It is indeed the run for the line by SS. He is currently leading category 2, the elite men's competition, and he crosses the line first today on stage 3 in the GCC Summer Championships, taking the win today. SS. Well, Ronald Erasmus is further back down the climb. He's not got a lot of climbing still to go. He's going to come round the corner and see the polka dot banner. It's just up ahead.
And as we came into today's stage, Erasmus was laying in 3rd position. He is chasing the time there of SS. He will want to limit his losses to SS and at the same time continue to open the gap on the man who was sitting in 2nd place, Hassan Al-Rumethri, the rider who has to answer Erasmus on the next 2 stages here, because Erasmus is really working hard to take some time out of him. That's the right-hand side of your screen. We're taking a little bit of a look onto the left-hand side of your screen, and all of a sudden, there's been a massive change in the Premier Elite as Ronald Erasmus, the rider who is going to come across to take 2nd place on today's stage in the elite men's competition, comes up to the line. He goes over the line on the right-hand side, left-hand side of your screen. I had to do a double check there, Emma. Alcase has been dropped down through this group. Mataway, Al-Hamadi and Nuki at the moment have put 10 seconds into him.
Well, they're flying, absolutely flying up this climb, these 3 riders. Q10 is now in their sights, 2 seconds up the road. Let's just remember, Q10 put in a big attack 2 kilometers from the bottom of this climb and lead into the climb. Now, Alcase was the rider who responded to that, and he has not been able to stay with the pace.
That attack, that big kick, that run. Is he paying the price here, Emma, for all of those mountain points he's gone for? We saw him time and time again trying to take the points in that. He has
just got to salvage today. He's got to salvage today. He's got to get to the top of this climb. I want to say as quickly as he can, but as measured as he can. He's still got 2 days of racing, and this now is the goal, to limit the time loss.
Choosing where you accelerate, where you put the efforts in. You can see the team behind him, the guys behind him now, they've got to keep working for him as well. They need to give him some of their energy really to push on here. This is where it's going to count. You've got to go hard now, because this is time you could be hemorrhage, and Q10 knows that. He's working at the front with Mataway, with Nuki, and with his teammate Al Hamadi. This is a big push.
Well, I'm just going to give you a bit of an update, because third place in the elite men's category has just gone over the line, and I can confirm it's not Hassan Al-Ramethri. It's Pablo de Manuan.
Wow.
So de Manuan putting in a phenomenal climb. He was lying in 4th place. Well, actually, he wasn't. He was lying in 20th place overall in the competition. He came through for 4th place on stage 2 yesterday. So he had a phenomenal time trial after not having a great stage 1. He finished 21st on stage 1. He finished 4th yesterday. Looks like he's just finished 3rd today. Now that is riding into your legs.
Oh my goodness, that's riding into the race and riding well. Hassan Al-Ramethri on the right hand side of our screen here. He's got Bouamur in front of him. He's got Al Hassani in here, and got a feel for Hassan Al-Ramethri. He's worked to get the polka dot points of the polka dot skin suit, but he knows that this is a tough climb. Come on, buddy. Get yourself to the top of the climb. Get over the line. Get some great recovery in. 2 more days to go. You can get it back. Now, back in with the Premier Elite riders here, who are trying to put time into LK. 18 seconds is the gap. So at the moment, Q10 is opening up the gap between him and second place. The riders who are going to benefit, Nuki, Al Hamadi, and Mataway, they could go over the top of Alkes. It's all down to those time gaps.
Well, the time gaps are going to count today. Who is going to take the winner? They're at 37.1 kilometres, 800 metres to go, 700 metres to go. There are 4 riders in the mix here. 4 riders in the mix in the Premier Elite men's competition. We have Mutue, Nuki, Q10, all in the mix here.
Every single one of them wants time. They all want time. They all want the time on Alkes. They know how dangerous a rider he is. He's now at 27 seconds on the time gap. This is the push line. These guys have got to keep pushing. They want the time, but they also know they want to take the time for themselves. Nuki, Al Hamadi, and Mutaway are all fighting for the positions below Q10 here, and this is about that big push to the finish line. Nuki's gone. He's gone over the top. He's opened a fractional gap at the moment on Al Hamadi. Al Hamadi's responding to Yusuf Mirza. Al Hamadi at the moment trying to close down Nuki. Nuki kicks again here. He's gone back up to 7 watts per kilo. 7.5 comes from Al Hamadi. It's mano a mano, and I tell you something, Mutaway is not out of this either.
This is a phenomenal ride from Ivan Nuki, pushing on here with 400 metres to go, 300 metres to go when they get to that polka dot banner signifying the end of the climbing session. Nuki is going to come across the line first at the top of the Hollywood climb. He's got 300 metres to the finish. Can he hold off Al Hamadi, Mutaway and Q10?
They're all coming. They're trying to chase him down. This is about that sprint for the banner. That's the UCI banner. That's the GCC Summer Championship line. It's in front of Ivan Nuki. He's going to hold them off, or is he? He holds them off. Great ride by Ivan Nuki to take the win here today. Amazing ride by Al Hamadi to come through in second place. Third place, I think it's going to be Mutaway. And fourth place, Q10. All subject to confirmation, and they're all going to be watching the clock now. So this man is Mohammed Al-Kais. Al-Kais, who has been such a fearsome competitor so far. He fought for every single climb on the race route today. It's paid a price that he now is going to have to count the cost of. It's ticking away in seconds. That's the currency that we are talking about at the moment, because this is about the time he's losing. He's going to have to make it up in our next 2 stages.
Well, absolutely phenomenal racing in all of the categories today, and many of our riders still out on the course. Nuki taking the win there. Absolutely amazing. But the time gap back to Al-Kais in 5th position, 37 seconds. I think this is going to be really interesting. Nuki finished 6th on stage 1, 7th on stage 2. Took the win today on stage 3.
Now, this is one of the reasons. I'm just taking a look at, whilst you were summing up there, with the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club. One of the riders there with a little bit of an issue with the bike, with the turbo. I think the change is coming off. one of the other riders jumping off to give them a hand. Fantastic
Excellent.
to see. And guys, if you're down there at the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club, thank you so much for letting us have a window in on your riding here on the GCC Summer Championship. It's what cycling is all about. Fantastic job today, guys. Keep those rides coming in. Brilliant to see Abdul Razak Al-Qadi on here. Thank you, sir, for letting us in on your world. He's on the climb at the moment. He's making his way. It's at 36.7k. Amazing riding by our riders around, whether they're at home in their own pay, whether they are out at the local cycling club. This is what cycling is all about. Get that inspiration. Imagine you're Ivan Nuki in those last 2 kilometres. Imagine that you're riding up there like we saw Maya Madera and Rona May-Joy Mayer or Angel Hadlock or SS going in there. These are the inspirational riders. You could ride just the same as them. We know you're all putting that effort in. This is what it's all about. This is what we love to see.
Well, the effort is there from everybody today. Tom Walker, Harrison Steadman, all around our rider on screen. Well, let's just run through the results. So Ivan Nuki taking the win in Category 1, the Premier Men's category, 58 minutes, 51 seconds.
Behind him, amazing ride by Yusuf Mirza Al-Hamadi to take second, only 1 second behind. 1 second behind also was Mutaway. Q10 are losing a little bit of ground, 5 seconds to Nuki, but the time that counts, 37 seconds from Nuki to Al-Case. 32 seconds from Q10 to Al-Case. They are going to be big counters. Al-Hamadi and Mutaway will be doing the maths at the moment to see where they are. On to our elite categories. SS has opened up another 1 minute, 10 seconds on anybody else out there. Erasmus, Demanu, and Kadabona Al-Hassani, your top 5. Thayab and Amir, followed by El Remethri, the man who's lost time. He's going to have to make that back in the next 2 days.
Well, Patty Keinberger taking the win in the Premier Elite Women's competition. She took the win on stage 1. She was second on stage 2. She's back on top spot on stage 3, but by 0.497 of a second to Angel Hadlock. Kokkonen coming in third place, 1 minute 14 back. De Gracia, 1 minute 56 back. Elos slipping down today, 2 minutes 50. And then we move through to category 4, our elite women. And we saw Mare take the win from Madeira. So 1 hour, 16 minutes, 1 minute 20. She has halved her gap to Madeira on the overall. Liz Smithson putting in a really strong performance today, finishing in third place ahead of Al Mansouri, Sarasu, Tanglian and Tan.
That rounds out the women's elite. If you're out on the hill still climbing there, don't worry. Remember, no climb lasts forever. I tell myself every single time I'm out on the hills, whether that is on MyWhoosh or out on my local roads. Amazing competition so far. We've reached the end of day 3, stage 3. Really looking forward to stages 4 and 5. My name's Matt Payne. You can follow me on Instagram at MattFixerPayne. You can follow Emma Martin at Biking Emma. Emma, what are you looking forward to on our flatter stage tomorrow?
Oh, well, I think it's going to be tactics tomorrow, because we've got a flat road race tomorrow with 9 sprints. So no climbs tomorrow in stage 4, but 9 sprints. So it's all about the sprinters tomorrow.
So whilst our climbers take their time off going uphill and maybe get some recovery for our final stage, stage 5, it's time for us to say thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the racing, please do jump on board on MyWhoosh. Come and join us on one of the many races that's on there. Please do subscribe to the MyWhoosh channel as well. Don't forget the GCC Summer Championship made possible by the Gulf Cooperation Council. A massive thank you for their support. And don't forget, of course, you could be out and riding if you're sat at home watching. Big thank you to the team behind the scenes. Without them, this just wouldn't be possible. And a big thank you to Emma here in the studio. But from myself, from Emma and everybody behind the scenes, stay safe. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Goodbye.